Hi, I'm Angela Non.
I'm Ariana Kempis.
And this is BRB Crying.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to BRB Crying. I'm Ariana, also known as Arns.
And I'm Angela, also known as Nins. And gosh darn it, we cried again.
We just keep doing it.
We keep freaking crying like every week.
Yeah.
And then just like stumble on this couch.
Mm-hmm. It's so weird how we just, I show up here and you're here too.
Like I'm here and then we have like stories to tell each other. And they're always about why we're crying.
Yeah. Yeah. Uncanny.
Weird, right? Mm-hmm. Just week after week.
Yeah.
So thank you for stumbling upon us as well. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to our show where we unpack our feelings.
Yeah.
Because we're not afraid of them.
Mm-mm. They're good.
They're awesome.
They're incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you're new here, it's a comedy podcast.
Yes, we know the content is about crying, but I mean, we're just like really naturally funny.
Yeah.
So
it's so, honestly, what a burden. My God.
So what's up?
My girl, sick again.
I'm hearing a little bit of vocal strain.
Oh, I'm talking about my daughter.
No, I know, but I feel like...
For me?
Yeah. Are you just like yelling out into the void? My daughter
I'm just
has
also
been sick for 3 weeks.
Oh my God. No, I'm just also like not quite 100% because of her.
Yeah.
But yeah, she has a little skin infection.
Just throw a little lotion on it.
Yeah, you're right. Why haven't I thought of that? Yeah, so she's been home and I've been at home stuck with her. So,
okay.
You know, you pay for daycare, an arm and a leg, and then the kid gets sick for 75% of the month. Yeah, so, you know, hopefully this is the last time she ever gets sick ever in her life.
Entire life.
Yeah. Knock on wood. Yeah. Let's just hope. So I'm okay. I'm dealing with that.
Cool.
How about you?
I'm okay. Can't complain.
Okay.
Been walking a lot outside.
Today was the only sunny day and I couldn't even manage to squeeze a walk in.
Oh, really?
I had therapy, but I did it outdoors. Like I do it over Zoom.
Oh, okay.
Outdoors with my legs like sticking out in the sun so I could at least get sunlight.
Yeah, there you go. It was pouring rain yesterday and I still really wanted to walk. And so my apartment complex has a little gym and the treadmill faces these big windows. So I was like,
I love that.
It was kind of a vibe though, because
cool.
The water was pouring down. I felt like I was in a movie.
Yeah. No, I love that that's an option for you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just walk around my house and I'm like,
okay.
It's really small. So, I'm just walking in circles. So I'm glad you have that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
It's been pretty low key.
Love it.
But we love it.
We love low key.
We love low key.
My God.
I'm still tired from the holidays and it's been like 2 months.
I'm tired from, I feel like the first 20 years of my life just being so filled with drama. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I guess I've been thinking about this a lot lately. Just like kids and like big feelings of being a teenager. And like, it's been over 10 years, but I'm just like, when I think back on that time, I'm fucking exhausted. Like that was so tiring to like care so much about all those things and like have so many like big feelings that I didn't know what to do with, didn't know how to process them, didn't know how to like ground myself.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing it now.
I'm making up for it now.
Yeah,
but
we're making up for it real bad right now.
Overcompensating, if you will.
Yeah, that's so funny for me to hear you describe your childhood as drama. I thought you were chill. That's fine.
It was, yeah. Overall, pretty chill. In the moment, the feelings are just so big when you're small.
Yeah, they are.
Anytime Sana doesn't get her way, she does this thing where her face goes like,
yeah.
And then like you say something funny and then she turns around and she's like laughing. So she's fucking faking it.
Right.
But like, God, it's like, again, I should empathize with her. It's hard being small.
Yeah. Just throw a little lotion on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
You seem like you are bursting with an announcement for us.
Am I? I am.
I think so.
Yes. Beautiful Eden. Folks, we got a giveaway going on. This is our last week. We're going to be drawing this week, but we are giving away a BRB Crying hat. If you write us a review on Apple and you screenshot it and send it to us, you can DM it to us or email us, hello@brbcryingpodcast.com. And then on socials, we are at brbcrying.podcast. If you screenshot that and send it to us, we will enter you into a drawing to win a hat. A very, very cute hat. Incredibly cute. So get that review in. If you're still lagging, like, this is it. You know, we're drawing this week. So, and then you can check our socials at brbcrying.podcast to see who the winner is.
Yee.
It might be you.
It might be you. And listen up, even though this is going to be the end of our giveaway, you can still write us reviews and tell us how much you love the pod here. We're not going to stop you.
We won't.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
All right. Do we do this?
Fuck me up.
We'll see. I might not. I don't know. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to read my little story. Let me spend 5 minutes unlocking the iPad. All right. Today I'm going to talk about something that I really didn't want to talk about. Not to be dramatic about it, but it almost feels like it's against my will that I'm talking about this.
Okay.
I cried about this a few weeks ago, but since that moment passed, I haven't stopped thinking about it. And that's because I'm forced to relive it every single day with my toddler. And I'm just like, oh my God, like again, oh my God. Every day, multiple times a day. Do you have any guesses?
No, I don't know.
I guess you don't pay attention to my life. Today I'm going to talk about Moana.
Oh, okay.
So,
Bitch, I was supposed to remember that.
yeah, of course. Okay, I'm not talking about Moana 2, which came out in November of 2024, but the first Moana. Mm-hmm. So I remember watching Moana in theaters when it came out almost 9 years ago now. And I was like, okay, this is pretty good. Mm-hmm. You know, I cried. But I hadn't rewatched it since, because in my memory, I was like, oh, that was pretty good. But not good enough to rewatch. But then Sana got sick, you know, as she's been. And so we were like, fuck this. We don't care about limiting her screen time. First, it was Frozen. Like, it was fun at first, because it was the first movie that she actually, like, sat down and watched, like, in full.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we still had to split into two parts, but, like, she watched the whole thing, and then, like, she was obsessed with the songs.
Yeah. Well, yeah, she hasn't seen a screen in her whole life.
Ever. But, yeah, it was, like, I mean, it was fun. Like, I love the music, but then it became, like, a month of, like, Elsa? Please.
Yeah,
I know you're in there.
Yeah.
So like, oh my fucking God. So we were like, all right, this fucking needs to stop. So I was like, let's do Moana, because I heard Moana 2 was a big crier. So I've been really wanting to watch it. But then I watched Moana 1 and I was sobbing all over the place. So I was like, okay. So here I am talking about it. I wanted to talk about something a little bit more like, indie, like us, smaller, cooler. But I'm talking about fucking Disney.
Here's the thing. We cry about everything.
Thank you.
Everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes they are mainstream Disney movies.
Mainstream is the word. That's the perfect word. Yeah. All right. So some context. If you, listener, have not had the pleasure of experiencing Moana, this is an animated film by Disney that premiered in 2016, and it's starring Ali'i Cravalho as the voice of Moana and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Maui.
I'm doing the eyebrow thing, if you can't tell.
Yeah, beautiful. The music was written and composed by our dude, Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Who's that?
He's just this guy from, like, Puerto Rico. And then also Opataya Fo'ai, and then Mark Mancina wrote the score or composed the score. And many brown people, such as myself, were really excited to see Moana premiere. because it was like probably one of the first times we've seen ourselves represented on screen in animated form by Disney. And while Filipinos don't necessarily identify as Pacific Islanders, because we reserve that term for the people that are indigenous to Polynesia, Micronesia, Melanesia, we do share ancestral ties with them. And so some of these islands include Samoa, Tonga, the Maori in New Zealand, Hawaii, Fiji, Guam. And so there are literally thousands of small islands in this region. And there's been a lot of discourse around kind of the integrity and accuracy of lumping all of these cultures and countries together for the sake of this film. But overall, I think the general consensus is like, this is still a huge step for Disney to do this in terms of representation. And it's a source of pride for a lot of Polynesians. So we'll leave it at that. All right, plot. I don't really want to belabor this because I feel like most people will have probably watched this. And if they didn't want to watch it, I don't know how to make them watch. But who? Maybe you will. Maybe you will after this. I don't know. Okay, so I should... Spoiler alert, I'm going to spoil a movie that's 9 years old. But I'll keep it pretty high level. So Moana hails from a Polynesian island called Motunui. And she is next in line to be the village chief. Her entire life she's been drawn to the sea, but she's been forbidden from sailing beyond the reef by her father, who is the current village chief. So her people on this island worship a goddess named Tefiti. But legend has it that 1,000 years ago, as a gift to the humans, there's a demigod named Maui, and he stole the goddess's heart. Literally. He didn't fall in love with her, like green glowing stone. And it was so treasured because it supposedly had the capacity to create life. But then he was struck down by this monster named Taka. And then for the next 1,000 years, he was never to be seen again. So back on Moana's island, the villagers are starting to panic because there are no fish, the crops are suddenly dying, and they're like, dude, we don't have food. What are we going to do? And Moana knows that the answer lies in sailing beyond the reef and finding Maui and then restoring the heart of Tefiti. But her dad is still super adamant about her not going. But her grandma, matriarch of the family, she calls herself the village crazy lady, reveals to her a secret. And that is that their people descend from voyagers. So Grandma shows Moana this hidden cave where the ships have been basically laying dormant for who knows how long, probably hundreds of years. And Moana takes this as a sign, like, oh, I'm not crazy. This call to the sea is in my blood. But later that night, her grandma has an accident, and then she's basically like on her deathbed, and she's on the brink of passing away. And then she hands Moana this glowing green stone, and it's the heart of Tefiti. And she tells Moana to journey beyond the reef, despite her father's wishes, despite the fact that they're all terrified about what lays beyond. And so she sails away to find Maui, and then together they restore the heart. So when did I cry? Many, many times. First of all, the music. I could do a whole episode on just the music. It's so fun. I mean, Lin-Manuel is a genius, but it's the Polynesian music that really fucks me up.
Like when she walks into the water for the first time. Oh my God. It's not the first time, but like that scene with the wave is
when the wave is giving
her.
Okay, so in that scene, I guess I could talk about that scene. The wave that's the first time it gives Moana the heart of Tefiti. Mm-hmm. Because it brings her in and it gives her the rock. And then she drops it, but the grandma gets it. Mm-hmm. And that's why the grandma's been holding on to it that whole time. But yeah, that's the music.
The music. Ooh. It's chilling.
It's chilling. It's haunting. Mm-hmm. You don't even have to necessarily know what it's about. Mm-mm. But by the way, that song is called Innocent Warrior. Need I say more? But even just the intro, when like the Disney castle comes up. I swear to God, it's called Tulo Tagaloa. It's the song that goes Tulo.
Oh yeah.
Tagaloa. Okay.
Yeah.
So in Samoan, I just had to write this down because this is what it means. Respectfully calling the God of the sea so you can see our world. So you can see my world. So you can understand how beautiful and good. So you can see our wonderful way of life. Huh? The fuck? Okay, this is an aside, but not too long after Moana premiered, there was a video that popped up on YouTube, and it was a group of basically like a children's choir.
Oh my God, I fucking know what you're talking about.
Okay. Yes. Of course I had to look it up to make sure it was still on. Yeah. I need to download it just in case they ever take it down. So it's called Saints Performing Art Trust, and they're these kids from New Zealand. I went down a whole rabbit hole for maybe like 1 or 2 hours, just like, where are these kids now? Yeah. But this is so good. I was wrecked. Oh my God, these children, they're like so pure. And like, to me, that was what was so beautiful about Moana. Like, oh, these are the kids who see themselves on the screen.
Right.
Ooh. I'll link it in the show notes.
I want to watch it now. Pause recording.
So yeah, in short, music, incredible. Okay, but when I watched it in 2016, I did cry for a couple of different reasons. It was, I think, one of the more standard, obvious reasons. Like, she says bye to her grandma who passes away, and this grandma's the only person who's ever accepted her. Her grandma comes back to her in the form of a spirit and helps her find her way. And then the end scene, spoiler alert, when Moana is restoring the heart of Te Fiti.
Wait, she does it?
Yeah, she does it, dude.
No way.
And you find out, which I was like, when I was watching it, I was like, this is like Dan episode 7, the one I talked about in episode 22, where it was the same concept of like, you realize that the goddess is just the monster, just with this hardened exterior because she's forgotten who she is because of like the pain and the suffering, all that. Cried, yeah. But the scene I wanted to talk about today that I don't know if I cried back then.
The crab that steals all the jewelry.
Shine it. Please.
I was wrecked. No.
The scene I wanted to talk about is when Maui and Moana are arguing. They've just had their first confrontation with Te Kā, the monster that's guarding Te Fiti. And Maui is pissed because he told Moana, like, we gotta go back. And she's being really stubborn. She's like, no, we have to do this. So they get into this whole fight. His magic hook, basically broken. And Maui, back on the boat, is insisting, like, without this hook, I'm nothing. And Moana says, no, you need to help me restore the heart of Te Fiti. You need to, I'm Moana Motunui. You must board my ship, sail across the sea, and restore the heart. And she's basically saying, the ocean chose me for this task. I have to see it through. This is why we have to do this. And Maui is so over it. So he tells her, well, the ocean chose wrong. And then he fucking flies away. It's really fucked up. But Moana's obviously really defeated. And she begs the ocean to take the heart back and find someone else to do it and choose someone else to do it. And the ocean reluctantly agrees, takes it, drops it to the bottom of the ocean floor. And at this point, Moana has, she's reached rock bottom herself, and her grandmother appears to her in spirit form. And this is when the song I Am Moana / Song of the Ancestors plays. And by the end of the scene, Moana has firmed her resolve and decides that she will, in fact, deliver the heart of Te Fiti. So I'm going to play that whole scene for you. It's like 5 minutes.
Well, I'm really glad that you're actually being as detailed with the summary because, yeah, I've seen it, but I don't really remember it because I don't have a 2-year-old that's watching this every day.
Okay.
So you do that every day?
We listen to it on Spotify, and whenever the song comes up, I skip it. Okay, I already described the whole scene. I did that on purpose because I didn't want to describe it after. So, for the entire film, I just played the scene for Nins, by the way. And if you have Disney Plus, or I guess if you're watching the film, it starts around the 1:17 hour mark. So for the entire film, Moana is propelled by the fact that the ocean chose her to deliver the heart of Te Fiti. And that's what makes her special. But after this confrontation with Maui, she's shaken because for the first time, she's questioning whether she's truly special and whether she was even worthy of being chosen. And so when her grandma visits her, she asks Moana, "Do you know who you are?" And in response, Moana sings, "I am the girl who loves my island. I'm the girl who loves the sea. It calls me. I am the daughter of the village chief. We are descended from voyagers who found their way across the world. They call me. I've delivered us to where we are. I've journeyed farther. I'm everything I've learned and more. Still it calls me. And the call isn't out there at all. It's inside me." And then she dives into the ocean and she grabs the heart of Te Fiti. And in watching this again, I realized that this is the first time Moana has sought the heart of Te Fiti herself. Every other time she was tasked with delivering the heart of Te Fiti, it was someone else telling her to. It was the ocean choosing her as a child, and then her grandmother handing it to her on her deathbed. So up until this point, Moana thinks she's special only because someone else has told her she's special and that she's the chosen one. But she doesn't actually believe it until this moment when she chooses herself. And this is kind of just like how it goes, you know? We grow up forming this idea of who we are based on what everyone else says we are. You know, we're told we're loud or shy or confrontational or we're passive or we're special or we're ordinary. And the way we see ourselves is actually this amalgamation of what everyone else sees when they look at us. But in order for us to heal and move forward, we have to let go of these perceptions, even if they're, you know, quote unquote, good qualities. Because in the end, all that really matters is how we perceive ourselves and what we know to be our truth. When people don't choose us, it's the worst feeling in the world. When people do choose us, it's the best feeling in the world. But it's so volatile. And the way people perceive us is more of a reflection on them than us. So for that reason, there's nothing as beautiful and powerful as choosing yourself. So on the surface, I think Moana seems like it's a story about following your heart and your dreams, no matter what other people say. But I think it's so much more than that. For me, at least, watching it again, it's been about kind of questioning and dismantling your truth and then rebuilding it until it's this clear reflection of what's actually truly in your heart. And only then we can begin to heal. Like, this sounds kind of crazy, but it's like kind of a model for healing intergenerational trauma, like overcoming these limiting beliefs about yourself. And then one of the most beautiful scenes, I think, is at the end when, because Moana has been able to heal and choose herself, she can fully come into this identity or this role as like this wayfinder. And because of that, her entire island can begin sailing again. And so they like all set off on the sea and kids are playing and like feeling the water. And there are so many generations who lost that because of the pain and the suffering and all these other like attachments and things like that. But it was just, wow, like just because she chose to heal that,
she could open it up for everyone else.
Yeah, they're experiencing life and this whole world differently.
2016 this came out? Oh, that was like my peak dumb bitch era, so I probably didn't dwell on that.
I was
scene.
crying so hard when I watched this a couple of weeks ago because I was like, you know, we've been talking recently about how interesting it is to rewatch or re-experience something and to experience it entirely differently because of where you are at in your life. And I was seeing in this movie, like what I'm experiencing in my own life, right? Like that decision to let go of good or bad, you know, these things that I hold on to so tightly about who I think I am. And like I was doing one of those limiting belief practices that I know we had talked about. And I was like, oh, I have so many. Which one do I choose? And this is the one that I happened to land on. Like, I only see myself as good or, you know, whatever else in relation to, you know, how others see me. And obviously it's so much easier said than done to let go of how people see you. But like, I asked myself, like, what would I say about myself if I got rid of all those identifiers, right? How do I see like, is the one thing that I know to be true about myself that I'm smart and like, you know, like,
well, my report card says right here.
Exactly. And I realized like, oh, I think that the most important thing to me about myself is that I strive to be this walking embodiment of love, like, period. That's it. Everything else is just a fraction of who I am.
It's such a journey to even figure out who you are, let alone only see yourself in that way. And I think that's something that you and I are really, really prioritizing right now, is just learning how to listen to ourselves versus feeling pressured to do this or that because someone says so. I mean, there were a lot of things that hit me on that. I mean, yes, this active decision of like, I can decide my destiny, but also just like honoring our ancestors in that way and everything that has been done to bring you into this world. Like, yes, you are amalgamation of that, but that's not all you are. It was like a beautiful way to pay tribute to that, then also forge your own path.
I have delivered us to where we are, and I've journeyed farther.
Yeah.
The call isn't out there at all. It's inside me.
The fuck?
You know, it may be mainstream, but Disney, you got me again.
Yeah. You know, I feel like we cry so much more because we are purposely choosing to not hold it in anymore. Like, I remember watching this in 2016. I think I was with Lou and like his siblings. Like, I'm pretty sure he brought like wine into the theater. Don't tell anyone. And like, I'm sure I was so embarrassed to, held fast, like trying to wipe the tear away, like, you know, but it's like, we're just letting that shit roll through, you know?
I'm thinking about after Wicked when...
I was just thinking about me watching Wicked this year.
I sat there and like everyone started walking away and I was like openly sobbing and I was like, how come no one else is 10 minutes? I couldn't move. I was immobilized.
No, like the last 10 minutes of the movie, it was just a free-flowing, like, it was just open weeping, you know?
Doesn't it feel so good, though, to just, like, to welcome that?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I had my sister-in-law on my other side. Hi, Amethyst. And it was just like, there's no shame anymore. I'm going to fucking cry.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure she was crying, too. And it was like let's just create this safe space for us to fucking cry during movies.
Yeah. Imagine being on your deathbed like, I wish I didn't cry in front of those people. Like, I feel like I just need to reframe my whole life that way. Like, am I going to be regretting this on my deathbed? If not, then fuck it. All right. What you got for me?
Okay. I'm a little nervous.
Oh.
Because when I was putting this story together yesterday, it was like a level 9 cry.
Oh. Okay.
Okay. So, you know how the world sucks ass. Like, just as a gross generalization, we are in shit times. So recently, I've been taking an active effort to immerse myself in things that bring me peace, as we all should. And one of those things that I've found myself particularly drawn to as of late is slow, calming music.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, I'm still going to blast the Blackpink when I'm on the elliptical, but for the most part, I've been listening to a lot of acoustic, mellow type shit, you know?
Yeah.
So since my entire life has been algorithmized, I've been getting some fire flame music recommendations.
Okay.
And I will be talking about one such song today. And that song is Marigolds by Andrea Bejar.
I don't know it.
Well, you will. So sources for today is a 2024 interview Andrea Bejar did with Tiger Sounds, and then a video on her TikTok account.
Oh, okay.
So Andrea Bejar is a singer-songwriter whose sound is what I could only describe as this beautiful blend of modern indie pop mixed with traditional Mexican folk ballads.
Oh.
It is stunning. It is so sweet and like, it's like pretty. It's just pretty music.
Okay.
I can't wait for you to hear it. But she was born in Mexico. And even though she primarily grew up in Miami, she says that she feels such a strong connection to Mexico. I think Mexico City is where she was born. But she feels such a strong connection to Mexico and her Mexican culture. And that is where she feels the most grounded and inspired. So a lot of her songs are a mixture of English and Spanish. Me, who took French in high school, here for the vibes. Here for the vibes, okay? But in this interview she did with Tiger Sounds, she says, I want my music to connect with people on a personal level, no matter their background. It's about creating something authentic that speaks to the soul. Exactly what you said about the beginning of Moana. You don't need to know. I mean, it hurts more when you Google Translate, but sometimes you don't need to know what the lyrics are. You just feel it in your soul. I fucking felt it in my soul in this fucking song I'm about to discuss. And I'm going to switch it up here and actually reveal the meaning of the song first.
Okay.
Before I play it for you, which I know you hate. But
I don't. I do not. I love context for a song.
Okay. Yeah. And the reason I'm doing that is because it's not really obvious what the song is about.
Okay.
It took me many listens to even like form a theory. And I did get it right, but I wasn't able to like fully confirm that until she posted a TikTok of her talking about what the song is.
Okay.
So this song, again, it's called Marigolds, is about missing her sister. But more specifically, missing growing up with her sister. Her sister is very much alive.
Okay.
She's not dead. But they're like best friends. Sorry if that came off as tragic, but we're gonna fucking get into this song.
Okay.
And I will really dig into these lyrics. But before I play it for you, just to quote that TikTok where she's talking about it, she says, I had just moved to LA. I moved away from my sister and I was missing her a lot. So I decided to write a song about her. I was just thinking about all of the things that I'll never be able to get to do with my sister again. There's just so many moments that I realized that I would never get back And that made me so sad. So I wrote a song about it. Okay, I'm gonna play it. So I just played that song for Arns, and I'm a fucking wreck, which is weird because I'm the type of person that when I discover my next favorite song, I will literally listen to it on repeat for days, weeks. Like I will just replay. And that's exactly what I did to this song. And it is so, like, the sound of the song is so beautiful and ethereal. And again, the message isn't really very clear. It's not very obvious what she's singing about. And so I was purely just vibing to it. And when I saw the TikTok explaining it, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I knew it. Oh, okay. And then my brain started kind of churning and I was like, oh, that's so sweet that she's singing about her sister. And I thought, oh, okay, I think that would be a good story for me to share on the podcast. And then when I sat down to write it, it was like the floodgates had opened. And I could not stop crying. I didn't listen to it very much today because I was like, dude, I literally cannot stop crying just thinking about this.
Yeah.
So we're going to get into these fucking lyrics. Okay. So verse 1 is, you stood by the doorway in an overused t-shirt, asking me questions about my day to forget about yours. Now I see you less often, and we don't speak much either. 15 years spent in the same place, but I wanted more. I'm already fucked up, because this verse just speaks so simply about what it's like growing up and living with your sister. You spend so many nights just chilling in your room, and then she comes in wearing her ugly house clothes, just talking to you about nothing. And you're just existing together, growing up together. It just brought back so many memories of me and my sister. So I have an older sister, Christine, and she is 7 years older than me. And I don't think it needs to be said, but she's obviously one of the people I love most in this universe. And I really feel like the bond between two sisters is something that is so sacred. Blue, my husband, will tell me all the time that whenever he's around me and my sister, he's like, you guys are in your own world. Like, we're speaking our own language. It's just us two. And growing up, I basically copied everything she did. And because there was such a big age gap, I annoyed her, I think, for a lot of my childhood. But of course, as the eldest daughter, she had way more patience than me and just kind of tolerated me. I don't ever remember her kicking me out of her room. She just let me chill as long as I wanted to, never told me to fuck off, which she must have wanted to several times.
When you were 9 and she was 16. Yeah. Yeah.
But she didn't. She just let me hang out. And it wasn't until I was maybe 11-ish when we really started becoming super, super close. I think I was finally old enough to relate to her. And this is a core memory for me where I remember so vividly, the first time I genuinely made her laugh out loud. And I was so proud of myself.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, I made my older sister laugh.
Yeah.
Like, I must be really funny. Like, that must have been a really good joke to make her laugh, because I just thought she was the golden standard, you know? And I always considered that a turning point in my childhood, because then it felt like every day living with her was like living with your best friend. And the last lines of this verse are 15 years spent in the same place, but I wanted more. I think I was actually 17 when my sister moved out. She lived at home while she went to college, and I'm just so grateful for those extra years that we got to spend together. But when she finally left home, of course I was, really excited for her, and I knew that it's not like I would never see her again. But I think every younger sibling has this memory of walking into your older sibling's room right after they move out and just feeling this emptiness, because you know that things were never going to be quite as they were anymore. Okay, chorus. So the chorus is: buried in the fields under the marigolds, la flor de la vida, lie your footprints marked beneath the dirt, guarda recuerdos. We'd pick fruit from the lemon trees, or cut off the branches, set fire to the earth. If you would have told me it'd be the last time, I'd have carried its worth. So the marigold flower is a very important symbol in Mexican culture. It is a key part of Dia de los Muertos, and the flower's bright colors and strong scent are meant to guide spirits back to their families. And in this TikTok that I mentioned earlier, Andrea talks about how when she and her sister were younger, they spent so many summers in their home in Mexico picking fruit from the trees in their backyard. And the chorus ends with her basically saying, if I'd have known that there was a last time that we'd be doing this, I probably would have treasured it even more in the moment. Again, obviously fucked me up, because there are so many times when you don't realize that it's the last time. And I mean, for my entire life, I will always be close to my sister. I will never not love her or not be connected to her. But it's true that our relationship has evolved because we individually have evolved. We're not kids anymore, and we're grown up, and yes, we still see each other regularly. I talk to her constantly, but our rooms aren't across the hallway anymore. We have husbands. She has kids. I have a podcast.
And a cat.
And a cat. But yeah, our lives are just not as entwined as they were. And this song just opened up this well inside me, because I didn't even realize, how desperately I missed it. Being young and looking up to her and feeling like it was just us two. Just being girls together. Verse 2. You drew the line on your side of the bedroom. Told me with your eyes, the darker it gets, the more I'd cross. Now I stare at the ceiling in a brand new apartment, trying to remember, were the sheets painted green or some type of scarlet? And then it goes back to the chorus, and I'll just read the bridge as well. That sooner or later, the colors are fading. I hate that they're slipping away with each night. Telling dad's jokes, but the punchline keeps changing. I'm scared of the day that they're gone from our minds. So in this verse, you get this image of two sisters sharing a room. And you have that classic trope where, you know, they probably fought and they said, "You can't cross this line. This is my side." And then she says, "The darker it gets, the more I'd cross." And it's just, I just see this image of a girl sneaking onto her sister's side of the room. And instead of getting mad, that sister just probably opens up the covers and lets her crawl in. Because there was a point in my life, you know, before the husband, before the boyfriends, where when things got dark, that was who I'd go to. That was my person. And she still is, but in a different way now. And this verse ends with coming back to the present, where Andrea is in her new apartment thinking about this memory and struggling to remember all the details of it. And she realizes that she forgot what color the sheets were. The bridge is in the same vein, where memories are dimmer and she can't quite exactly remember all of it anymore. But let me just repeat the first lines of the chorus again. Buried in the fields under the marigolds, la flor de la vida, which means the flower of life, lie your footprints marked beneath the dirt, guarda recuerdos, which means to keep memories. I know there are times in our lives that we wish so desperately we could go back to. And it's heartbreaking because when we miss something that we no longer have, all that's left is the memory of it. And what do we do when those memories start to slip through our fingers? I don't really know. I think maybe we can just accept that life is a continuous change and that we will always be evolving and growing, and the people will always come back to us, oftentimes in different ways. I look at my sister and I'm just so proud to even know her, let alone all of these versions of her throughout her life. Today, she is the best mom. But before that, she was just mine. And I was just hers. And we're still those things to each other. Sisters forever. But it means something a little different now. And that's okay. Even if you're listening to this and you're like, "Oh, but I don't have a sister." I would bet that there are people in your life whose relationship with you looks a little bit different now that life has taken its course. And maybe as much as I grieve this time in my life that I will never experience again, I shout to the universe how grateful I am to have something like this to miss so desperately. May we all be so lucky.
Right before I came here, when we recorded this, I don't remember how we got on this topic, but me and Jomi were talking about, it came up that I used to follow my sister around everywhere. But it's interesting because the way I was talking about it, it was laced with bitterness. I was talking about how I used to have to follow her around and like hang out with her friends and do all these things and and how, you know, even though we weren't ever really intersecting at school because of our 4-year age gap, we were never in high school at the same time or in college at the same time, I was still always Alexa's little sister my whole life. Even when I would step into these spaces where no one knew me, they saw someone else in me And I never even like really got to form my own first impression because my first impression was her, right? And when we left that conversation, I was a little bit like, the way we ended it was like, man, that kind of sucks, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, I think it's so wild that, you know, you came here and talked about this because I was remembering one part of it, which was the younger me who was just like, oh, I want to be my own person, separate from her. I want to forge my own path, separate from her. But then there's the other side of it where I would not have had it any other way. I would not have had anyone else in my life to be seen as a littler version of. You know, like if at one point it made me annoyed or whatever, now it's like, oh my God, I'm just, I couldn't be prouder to be a reflection of her. When I talk about those times about following her around, I'm saying like, yeah, it was so annoying, you know, but she let me, you know, like.
And I'm sure they're listening to this and they're like, they're going to bring such a different perspective to it because they were the older sisters and we were the younger sisters. And I feel like we were just like reaping all the benefits and they probably looked at us like practiced children.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
yeah.
I mean, I know that all siblings, like there's moments of annoyance and there's moments of like, oh my God, just leave me alone and like stop borrowing my clothes and, you know, all of that shit. But it's like just the moments where you're not doing anything and you're just there together. I miss that so much. I just think about how when you forge your own path, your priorities shift. Your day-to-day worries will look different. And the way that you decompress will look different. And I just miss doing that with her. And maybe it's also like just me missing childhood as well. I mean, because she was so intertwined in that, like so many of my childhood memories, she's in it because she's my sister, you know? Like I just didn't even realize that I was feeling that way or like that longing was even in me.
Yeah, I'm grateful that you brought that here today because I didn't either, even 2 hours ago.
Right.
There's no one who will know you the way your sister knows you.
It's different.
It's so different.
There's just something about two sisters. And again, I know that not everyone has a sister, but I just really wanted to talk about just like knowing that relationships change and yeah, you can accept it, but you can still miss it too.
Yeah, both can be true.
Yeah. So, Christine, Alexa, shout out.
Shout the fuck out. Whoa.
I was crying so hard. You know, like when you cry so hard, you're tired after. You like want to fall asleep.
You go to bed.
I like fell asleep.
You like don't show up here. I'm like, where are you?
Like laptop on my face, like just drooling. Oh my God. So yeah, Andrea Bejar.
Ooh. I loved the Spanish guitar in between. Oh my
And
God.
her other songs are just as gorgeous.
I can't wait
like,
to dive in.
They're just so like, again, pretty. It's just pretty. It's just pretty.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So yeah, highly recommend her. Highly recommend Sisters. Whew. That's our show. Super funny, right?
It's hilarious. It's a riot.
Thank our sisters for our sense of humor.
Yeah. You were always so funny, and I always was like, "Oh, that's Christine." Like I grew up around her too, right? And I saw that like you totally just adopted her sense of humor, and like
Yeah.
like you were both always so sharp with your humor.
Or just like even the way that she spoke.
Yeah.
Because there would be so many times where I would meet her friends.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh my God, you sound just like her.
Yeah.
Just like the way that you deliver words, the way that you say things.
Everything.
The intonation.
Yeah. I still get that. People still think we sound like me and my sister sound exactly the same too.
Yeah.
It will probably be like that for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Love that.
Love it. If I was bitter about it 2 hours ago, I'm grateful for it now. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. You know, it's funny because we didn't necessarily have alignment on topics, but you still...
Oh, connected.
You
Connect
still
those
were
dots.
I mean, my God, like that was so on point for like...
Oh, just like what happened in your life today?
What happened in my life right before this. And then you like, wow, that was...
You really were talking about it today?
I'm not exaggerating. Right before, that was the last conversation I had before I drove here.
Whoa, that's crazy.
No, I know. Yes, that's what I'm saying. So this is a show where we are two psychics and we just talk about things that we know the other person will relate to.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate you being here with us. We're grateful that you lend us your ear, and we are grateful if you are able to take away anything from this at all. So
It better be that we're really funny.
yeah. That's what I was going to say next. Yeah. Follow us on socials at brbcrying.podcast. We have a newsletter. You can sign up through socials. We got a Substack. Send us any sob stories or recommendations for cry material. You can DM us, email us, hit us up on our website. We have a form there, brbcryingpodcast.com. And enter our giveaway for a hat.
That's all.
That's it.
An hour later, that's all we got.
That's all we got.
We are going to go rest our weary little eyes. They've been crying a lot.
Lots of crying today.
Lots of crying today. That's so unlike us.
Yeah, weird.
Okay, but yeah, we're going to go away and then we will come back dry-eyed, ready to do it again.
I'm ready to do it all again.
But until then,
BRB crying.